and welcome to the Point to Rise show. This is your host, Susanne, former international ballerina that found her passion in mindset, business, and technology, and is today the founder of Rise Media. It is my purpose to use all the experiences of my past to create a better, financially sustainable future for the performing arts industry. And that starts with every single one of us. I believe that being you is your superpower. And I am here to guide you, empower you, inspire you, and give you all the resources you need to rise above what you think you're capable of. Every week, I'll bring you 3 shows featuring guests, collaboration, and mini episodes to ensure that you have the support in your journey as a performer. I want you to know that you are not alone. Stop chasing and start creating. Your success starts now, here with you. So let's go. Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I am so happy to be back to take a little sabbatical, just removing some anxiety, a little bit of burnout that I was experiencing, and the lack of creativity. And I had really truly committed that I won't show up on the podcast unless I really truly have to say something. So I am back. Before I get started today, I wanted to remind you that the Rise Media newsletter is going strong, still launching a newsletter per week at this moment, talking about everything and anything that I think is important to know in business and technology, in wellness, and that would be applicable for the performing arts and how we can build that bridge, understanding that the performing arts bubble is a great bubble and that we are evolving by expanding that bubble and letting more people and more knowledge into the bubble. So if that interests you, if you want to know what's going on without really having to go through all of the posts and magazines, it will come in your inbox in one newsletter once per week. You can sign up for it for free by just going to the risemedia.group website, and there's a button. All you have to do is put your email address in there and you are good to go. All right. Now, today, I want to talk about the importance of our why. And I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this up. See, why? I attended a show in Santa Monica a week and a half ago. It was a school show, and they had brought in some alumni dancers, like well-known dancers. And I and ahhed, spending $75 on a ticket. And I went, and I have to say that it was definitely a very eye-opening, sobering, joyful, filling up experience. And let me tell you why that was. And not only because I hadn't seen any kind of live shows in 2 years, which, by the way, I'm okay with not to, really, truly. But what really opened my eyes was the joy and the immense love and grace and compassion that came from these beautiful students of the school. If anybody still knows me from way back when, I think technique and appearance was like my number one thing that I always would judge other companies on. And it didn't matter to me if they were in a line. It didn't matter to me if their feet were warped or stretched or sickled or whatever it was. Somebody fell down. It did not matter. And you know why? Because the way they made me feel was everything I wanted. Yes, it was beautiful, the costumes and these gorgeous arms and unbelievably stunning human beings on the stage. And what I took out of that was even 2 days after that, I could tap into that joy when I didn't feel really good. I was able to tap into feeling great about who I am and what I'm doing because I saw these beautiful young dancers perform and sharing their own joy and their own love for the art with me. And then, and I mean this with love, then I also watched the dancers that already had created a career and were involved in companies. And I didn't get that same feeling. I didn't get the joy. I felt fear. I felt judgment of themselves. I felt unworthiness in a way that I could so relate to. Like that freeness that we have when we start, I would say, even any kind of venture, when we believe that we can do it, when we are so in tune with who we are. It didn't matter what anybody else said about me. It was like, oh, well, I want to do it anyways. And it showed in everything that I was doing. And the older we get and the more we're in the system, we tend to lose that freeness, that playfulness, the joy, the fun. It's all about hard work and the things that we're not, and the things that we have to fit into, and the pounds that we should lose to, and the hair that needs to be darker, lighter, whatever that might be. When we lose that sense of self, and that does not only apply to dancers or other performing artists, that is like a global epidemic that I'm seeing and went through myself and still coming out on the other side of it, that when we do not allow ourselves to be who we are, we're just not going to show up the same way as we could. And we are also not having the same impact on other people, because if we're portraying something that is not us, we are not going to help other people with that. So with that being said, I think the message of today really truly is allow yourself to be who you are, because you as man, as woman, as who and whatever you identify yourself as is great already. You don't have to prove your worthiness. You don't have to do all the things for somebody else. I think that's the biggest trap that we're running into, particularly as a performing artist. And let me use this example, and I know he won't mind me, fingers crossed. I had this beautiful conversation with a dear old friend over the weekend and got injured. And I asked him how his job is doing. And he admitted that he is still chasing the validation from his job in order to feel worthy as a person. We think that we are not replaceable, or we hope at least we're not replaceable. And that's why we do all of these crazy things, like, holding exams out of the hospital bed 3 hours before an operation. And I've been there too. I've done the same too. And I still tend to slip into these behaviors if I don't really tune into myself, if I don't take care of myself, if I don't put myself first. The faster than you can say rabbit, am back to these kind of behaviors. But the thing is that when we choose to act and behave like that, we're not really doing ourselves a favor, and neither do we do other people a favor, because we're only giving like half of who we are. So performing artists, entrepreneurs, mothers, women, fathers, leaders, I think it is time that we understand that you do not have to earn your worthiness. You already are worthy. And if somebody denies you that right, then they're not the right person to be with or to have access to. And with that, I am sending you so much love. Share your biggest takeaway. If this message resonates with you and you think somebody else in your circle could really could use this message, please share it with them. Subscribe to the podcast, download it, leave us a review. This is free content, 208 episodes in. I am sending you so much love. Until next time, bye. Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.